Hello everyone, welcome to another Pat's Adventure Life video. Yes, we're in lockdown again. School holidays and we can't go four-wheel driving, can't do anything but stay at home. Actually, I don't need this. I'm outside, I'm by myself. And also, welcome to all of my new subscribers. It's great that you've come along and thank you for subscribing. So a couple of weeks ago I was pumping up the other car's front tire, and I noticed there's a big difference between the Thumper air compressor and the ARB air compressor that sits in the underneath the seat. So I've got two air compressors and I'm just going to talk about my experiences with these air compressors. So I'm not sponsored by any of these guys. I just go out and just talk about my experiences with the equipment I use. So this is the Thumper air compressor. So what you get in the Thumper air compressor is obviously it's a single air compressor. It's quite large, as you can see, it's pretty big. You get the hose with it, the wiring, and you get some, it comes in a bag, and you get some bits and pieces to pump up soccer balls and so on, which does come in handy once in a while. I mean, it's big and it's heavy, and when you're traveling you've got to have it tied down inside somewhere. And so a couple of things I was going to do with this and the ARB air compressor. So as I said, the ARB air compressor sits underneath the passenger seat and it's hardwired. So these are the switches I use. That turns the air compressor on, and this is for the rear locker. So I've only got a rear locker, I don't have a front locker at the moment, but this compressor, so that's your outlet for the air, and that connects, I'll take you through, that connects to the hose where you can pump up your tires. And also this, I've got a rear air locker which this runs as well. So when I need the air locker on, I turn the switch on to get the air compressor on, and then the air locker on. It's as simple as that. So when I went to ARB and we were talking about where to install the compressor, you can put it in almost anywhere. You can put it underneath your bonnet, but we decided to go under the seat, where, I mean, that way you don't have to keep putting your bonnet up and down every time you want to pump up your tires. Also, it's cleaner air in here. You don't get all the dust and all the crap from when you're driving, when you're going off four-wheel driving. And also, it's a very compact little unit, so that sits underneath the seat, and none of these get in the way. It sits quite well, and so far it's worked really well. So first up, I'll take you through how the Thumper works, and I'll do that, and then I'll take you through the ARB air compressor and I'll just show you the differences. So already with the Thumper, so it's got these, it's actually plastic over the battery terminals, and this one's actually come off. I couldn't find it, so that's an issue with it. So one of the things you have to do obviously is to get power to it. You have to, every time you have to open your bonnet, plug it in, and then you've got your hose. Okay, so I need to look up how long this is. I'll put it up on the screen. So this simply connects to the front quite easily, and I've got it wired up. Now normally it's And normally it's probably better to run the engine while you're, because these things take quite a bit of power, you don't want to run your battery out, so it's probably better to keep the engine running while you're repumping the tyres up. Now there's not going to be a lot of science behind this, it's not going to be exact, but it'll give you a good idea of how long it takes to pump the tyres back up. Okay, so it's down to 20 psi. Not sure if you can see, 20 psi. And I've got my stopwatch, we'll just see how long it takes to pump it up. Now one of the problems I find with the Thumper is the on and off switch is there, and when you're doing the rear tyre, the way this works is you need to turn it off to give it your accurate PSI. So if you're doing that, the rear tyres, you have to come around and you turn it off, walk over there, check the PSI, then come, if you need more air, you need to come here and pump this up again, which I find is a bit annoying, but you get around it. That's probably one of the biggest hurdles with this, and also this, because you have to screw it on and screw it off, which gets a bit annoying. And of course you've got to plug this in. But anyway, here we go. One minute 26-27, so about a minute and a half. So it's up to 40 psi. So 20 to pump up 20 psi, it takes a minute and a half. So all up, you're looking at around about, with the Thumper, around about 6 minutes, which is not too bad. So 6, and maybe if you've got it down to like 10 psi, it's going to obviously take a bit longer. So maybe 8 minutes, just doing your 4 tyres. So now, as I said, with the ARB compressor, it sits under the seat, and it does come, of course you have to pay, these are all extras. So the ARB compressor I think is around about 360 just to purchase, and of course you have to get it installed. And I did get the hose that comes with it. It's a 6-meter hose, or 20 feet, which is just enough. So that's the hose that comes with it, and this is the tyre inflator that you also have to buy separate. So the hose was 70 and this is 70, so it all adds up at the end of the day, and I'll put a rough price of the two at the end of the video. But I really like this because it's a tyre gauge, so it tells you the PSI, as well as you can inflate and deflate with this button. It'll take some air out if you need to, and it works really well for me anyway. So what I have to do is connect the hose there, and then you simply connect the hose to the inflator, and that's it. So the bonus now is you don't have to have the hood up because it's hardwired, and we've connected the hose to the compressor, and what I have to do now is turn the compressor on, and as you heard, it's just pumped air into the compressor, so it's ready to go. So we're going to come around here, do the same, come down to 20 psi, and then pump it up and see how long it takes. So all I'm doing there is taking the internal valve out, letting the air out, and then putting that valve back in with the deflator. So now with the inflator, it has it on and off. Down to 20 psi. .40 psi. At the time, completely surprised me. 1 minute 50. So 25 seconds more to pump it up with the ARB compressor. But it's, as I said before, it's convenient. It's always under the seat. You can use it anytime. And so there you go. So there you go, guys. Just to conclude, so we got the Thumper air compressor, which is, for me, starting off, I bought it about 2, maybe 3 years ago, and it's been great. Hasn't given me any trouble, except for obviously simple things like, you know, the plastic or the rubbers come off the battery connectors, but other than that, it's worked. And if you're starting off all driving, yeah, one of these will work fine. But just for convenience, the ARB compressor, now that compressor is also in there because I've got a rear locker, as I said before, and so that does two things. It pumps up the tires with the hose and also runs the rear locker. Now, one of the main things is I really love the ARB. I really love the ARB tire inflator. It just makes the job a lot easier. And so in relation to how long it took, now the Thumper took 1 minute 26 and the ARB compressor took 1 minute 50. So there's like 20-25 seconds difference, but it's just the convenience. Yeah, the ARB is always under there if I need it. If I'm pumping up bike tires, other cars, if you have a flat somewhere, you can always, and it's always accessible. It's easy to get to. All you need to do is find somewhere to put these two things, and that's it. Everything is hardwired, ready to go. So I hope you liked my video, guys. Please like and subscribe, and hope to see you on the next one. See ya.